The Ghosts at Corgaff Castle. Coming to the castle.
As I ride my bike up the hill, I see the familiar sight of Corgaff Castle. It stands in a wild and lonely spot on the top of the hill. It is the only building for miles. I've known the castle for as long as I can remember. My mother works in the castle visitor centre and shop. Today is a special day. The castle is closed for tourists, and my friends and I are allowed to spend the night in the castle all by ourselves for the first time. I leave my bike against the fence. There are 2 bikes there already. I look up and see Theo and Alistair standing by the front door of the castle. They wave down at me with an excited look on their faces. I wave back and pick up my bag and sleeping bag and start walking up to them. The big heavy key feels cold as I pull it out and hold it up to show Theo and Alistair. "Sorry I'm late. My mum had to double check everything in my bag." I unlock the heavy door and Alistair is the first to enter. He has his arms over his head as he yells,
"Hello, Corgaff! We are your new residents. Are you ready for a night of excitement?"
The words echo through the great hall. Theo hands Alistair his bags and says dryly,
"Be careful, Al. We don't want to disturb too many ghosts. Don't you remember the stories Nick has told us?"
The fire in 1571.
Both of them turn their heads and look at me. I know all there is to know about the history of Corgaff Castle, and I have passed some of the most exciting stories on to my friends. "Are you thinking of the story from 1571 of how 27 men and children were burnt to death inside the castle?" I say with a very serious look on my face. I can tell from Alistair's look that he has not thought about that story for a while, but he has not forgotten. 2 families, the Forbes and the Gordons, were fighting each other. The Forbes lived in Corgaff Castle. When the Forbes men were away fighting for the king, the Gordons attacked Corgaff Castle. There were only women and children left at the castle, but the women did not want to give up and hand over the castle to the Gordons. Then the Gordons set fire to the castle, and all women and children died in the fire. People say the castle has been haunted ever since. "Come on, let's go and put down our things in the room. I've never met any ghosts here, and I don't really think they exist. Let's talk about something else," I say, and start walking.
Bedtime.
Many hours later, we lie in our sleeping bags in the room we have chosen to spend the night in. It's past midnight. Alistair quickly leaves the room to go to the bathroom to brush his teeth. I have a suspicion that he will hide somewhere in the hallway so he can scare Theo and me when we walk by. We have not walked for very long when suddenly we hear a horrific scream through the castle. I feel how my blood freezes. I recognise Alistair's voice. I start running in the direction of the scream. Theo is right next to me. The lamp in his hand bumps up and down. We can hardly see where we are running. My heart is pumping so fast that it feels like it is going to explode. In the hallway outside the staircase, we run into someone and fall onto the floor. When I hear the cursing from the person underneath me, I immediately know that it is Alistair. I am so relieved that I can hardly control my voice. "What happened? Are you okay? Why were you screaming?" Theo holds his lamp close to Alistair's face. The look on his face, on his face, tells me more frightened than I have ever seen him. His lips are trembling as he speaks.
"I've seen real ghosts. I'm not joking. I really saw them down in the barrack room. Children and women. They were crying and moaning. It was terrible.
I can tell from the look in his eyes that he is not joking. But I have a hard time believing what he says. I have to see for myself. I get up from the floor and help Alistair up as well. Theo is already standing.
Come on, let's go and see.
The ghosts in the barrack room.
Theo and I start walking down the stairs which lead to the barrack room. I look back to see if Alistair will follow. He hesitates and then follows. As we get closer to the bottom of the stairs, we hear the scary sound of people crying and moaning. The sound goes right to my heart. It is a feeling of pure sadness. I am frightened, but I feel like I have to keep moving. Finally, we reach the bottom of the stairs. The crying and the moaning is very loud now. It sounds like there are many people in the room. Some of them are clearly children. I hear them crying as though someone or something is hurting them. The barrack room is dark, and at first I cannot see anything. Then Theo turns out the lamp, and suddenly I see white figures moving around. There are women in long dresses and children of all ages. I feel someone taking my hand. I look down and then quickly pull away my hand. There is a little boy next to me. He tries to take my hand again and looks up at me with dark eyes and a white face. He is crying.
Help us! Help us!
I do not know what to do. I feel Theo and Alistair standing behind me. They are quiet, but they do not seem to panic. We just stand there. The boy keeps begging for help, but I just do not know what to do. A woman comes closer. She puts her hand on the boy's shoulder, and he stops crying. She looks at me.
Please, help us, sirs. We have been trapped here since the fire.
Finally, I am able to speak again. But how can we help? The story you were talking about happened almost 500 years ago. The woman explains.
When the castle was burning, we tried to get out through the door in the east corner of the barrack room. But the door was locked and the key was upstairs. It was impossible for us to get upstairs because of the fire. In the end, we all died when the fire reached the barrack room. It was terrible. So much pain and screaming. For 500 years we have been suffering. We long for peace. Please find a key for the door and let us out.
I know exactly what to do now. I turn around and almost run into Theo and Alistair in my eagerness to find the stairs. Come on! I know where to find the key! I run up the stairs as fast as I can in the dark. Theo and Alistair are behind me. Theo turns on the lamp again, and we walk through the castle without saying a word. When we reach shop, I turn on the light and cross the room. I enter the office and walk directly over to a big box on my mother's desk. The box is full of things that are not important enough to be on display in the castle. My mother calls it her box of special things. I have looked in it many times over the years, and I know exactly what key I'm looking for. I find it right away, and hold it up to show the others. We stand there smiling for 2 seconds before we run out. It is a beautiful night outside. And there is no wind at all. We walk around the east side of the castle and quickly find the door to the barrack room. My hand is shaking as I try to find the keyhole. I find it, put in and take a deep breath before I turn it. It works!
Freeing the ghosts.
The door unlocks, and Alistair, Theo and I all pull the big door handle. For a second, I think we cannot open it, but then suddenly it gives in and opens. The sound of the crying women and children streams out through the open door, and then suddenly stops. We step aside and watch how a little girl is the first to go through the door. We see her big smile when she sees the sky and the moon. She takes a couple of steps, and then it looks as though she evaporates and disappears into the air. The other children and women follow her one by one. The last ones to leave the barrack room are the little boy and the woman we talked to inside. The woman whispers a
Thank you
when she passes us.